we went off the air yesterday, and with the latest from Jerry Jones, he held his annual open of Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California, about an hour up the road from the studio there, or from COVID headquarters here where I live. We got his opening comments, but Dak Prescott took the podium after we went off the air. And he said something that I want to play for everyone here because it's as honest a soundbite as you can see. It's seemingly raw for him to say such a thing, which is the reality that this could be his last year as a Dallas Cowboy. Now, Jerry Jones, in his comments yesterday that we did play for you on the program, was that he does not believe, he does not think it would be Dak Prescott's last year as a Dallas Cowboy, but this is his walk year. And as we all know, the all-in strategy of Jerry Jones wasn't to go all in with the roster with other people coming in and mixing and matching from his very talented roster that he and his son and the rest of the front office has built for Mike McCarthy to coach, and supplement those folks with some free agents here or there. And, the name Derrick Henry has been the one that I keep saying over and over again. Like, could you imagine the difference in excitement, tenor, and also the difference in the possibility of the Cowboys getting finally to the NFC Championship game, if not beyond, if the Derrick Henry that we've seen for the years that he is building a Hall of Fame resume, in my estimation, since coming off the campus of Alabama, if he could bring that game to Dallas, what that would mean in terms of taking pressure off of Dak and taking pressure off of CeeDee Lamb, who's not there because he's unsigned as well at this point in time with a new contract. So he's holding out. Dak is all in there at camp as only he knows one speed. And so he was asked if he thought this was going to be his last year in Dallas because he has a no trade clause. They can't trade him. He also can't be franchise tagged. He will be a full-on free agent once this season is all completely over. So cue Dak Prescott on whether he's looking towards a non-Cowboy future.
But at the end of the day, it's a business, and when I'm gonna say it, I want to be here, but when you look up, all the great quarterbacks I watched played for other teams. So my point in saying that is that's not something to fear. That may be a reality for me one day, may not be my decision. So that's the freedom that I have is be where your feet are, make the most of it, be confident in yourself, make your team better. I love my teammates. I love that locker room. I love everything about being out here in Oxnard and being a Dallas Cowboy. So that's what allows me to be free and focused and understand that when time comes, who knows what comes. As I said, I've been through a lot of adversity personally, that it's about, being thankful for where you are, hugging and loving on your loved ones and taking it one day at a time and handling the rest when it approaches.
How about that one, Christopher, huh?
It's Tom Brady played for the Bucks, and Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Jets, and Peyton Manning is played for the Broncos, and Joe Namath, played out west. It's kind of a weird reality of the National Football League. It's not the way it goes anymore. Your heroes, your favorite players eventually play for a different team. Whether it's midway through their career, like Dak is right now, or at the end of the career, like the guys I mentioned. And I kind of would expect to see Dak in another uniform at some point. It's almost inevitable with the way today's NFL is.
Well, Stafford also, right?
Yeah, exactly. Matt Stafford.
With the Rams. We could go on and on and on, and how rare it is.
Brett Favre, it just happens.
Right?
Yeah, it happens.
The number of Hall of Fame quarterbacks that you see go into the Hall of Fame with multiple teams on their bust platform, right? But the part of the soundbite that leapt out to me is him saying, "I'm just going to say it," and how he knows what he's saying sounds like a leverage play, which is not his default, right? His default is to be the Dallas Cowboy leader and that he's all in. So for him to say, hey, I'm kind of Googling, great quarterbacks and their resumes and seeing how they didn't just stay with one team forever. And I'm literally spending my time looking at that sort of thing and then spending my time also thinking about the great things in life that I also would still have, even if I changed my professional dress and uniform and helmet logo. And when he said that at the end, right? You know what that reminded me of, Chris? It reminded me of myself during the dark Michigan-Ohio State years, watching Ohio State beat the crap out of Michigan.
Every year. Yeah.
And I would just say, you know what? My kids are still here. You know,
you're trying to think of the positive.
They love me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was just realizing the inevitable of the reality of the awfulness of the situation, right?
Right.
And trying to find any sort of silver lining I could find directly in front of me or search for in my life that could take my mind off of this, right? Like that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, does he feel it's inevitable? Or, you know,
it almost sounded like it. He almost sounded like it. Like, look,
like resigned, right?
Yeah,
like
resigned to the fact that, hey, this is going to be it. I'm going to give you everything I have this year, like I always have, because that's the only way I know how to play. I'm one of the best Cowboy quarterbacks, really, of all time, statistically, when you look at it. I've won a ton of games. I haven't taken us to the big one, but I'm going to give you everything I have, and my promise to you is that I'm trying to take us there. But this might be it. This might be our last ride together.
He's all in.
He's all in.
He's all in.
I know that. Or he's got to realize, you know, with whom he is dealing, which is, you know, a Hall of Fame wheeler and dealer.
Yeah.
Who, you know, sits back and waits until midnight strikes to make a deal, right?
Not even. I mean, 12:05.
And also, you know, the reality of the situation, Stephen Jones stepped up, you know, this was before Dak spoke. And Stephen Jones spoke about the realities of the cap and the fact that there is CeeDee Lamb who wants to be paid the highest, the most as a wide receiver, one would think, which means he would be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. And this is what Stephen Jones had to say about the realities of what's going on with Dak.
I welcome the opportunity that we've drafted well enough to have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the best pass rushers in the league, if not the best, and one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the league. Welcome the opportunity. It's great that we draft like that, but it does take time, and it's certainly not easy. You know, you look at a guy like Jefferson, they're not paying a quarterback. They're not paying anybody on their roster at this point. So it's a lot easier for them to stretch a little more, and we're just trying to work through reasonably with CD, reasonably with Dak, what we can do to make it work from an economic standpoint. And certainly when you're trying to pay three guys like that, it certainly does limit your opportunities to maybe
and, you know, Stephen Jones
improve the roster down the line.
Yeah, and, you know, Stephen Jones was saying what Jerry was saying. The number of times that they said in their press conference over and over again, the current roster's amount of collective Pro Bowl appearances and the current roster's amount of collective All-Pro team appearances, and how, you know, if they're all in with a roster, this isn't a shabby roster to be all in with. The problem is, you know, down the road, obviously, and how do you get those guys in now? Well, Dak's not going anywhere. CeeDee Lamb is still sitting in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue is for them that they waited. Justin Jefferson set the market. CeeDee Lamb now wants what Justin Jefferson wants. And what Justin Jefferson has is also something that Micah Parsons wants, which is to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. And Mike is like, I'll just sit back and let my wide receiver set the market. And then the quarterback is looking at other quarterbacks set the market higher and higher and higher. And the ones who are setting the market higher, higher, and higher don't have Super Bowl rings. Jared Goff doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. Jordan Love doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. Tua Tagovailoa doesn't have a Super Bowl ring.
Herbert and Burrow, the guys who just signed before them.
Correct. And so that's the issue for Dallas because that's the way they do their business. But in the same way that what Dak said sounds like a leverage play, so does, what Stephen Jones is saying, which is, hey, the reason why Justin Jefferson can get paid all that money is because they're not paying their quarterback. Yeah. So is that a message to Dak? I don't think so. I don't think that's a shot across the Dak bow. But right now, what the Cowboys need to be doing is coalescing around, their campaign, sort of, not to go outside of the lanes of our sports world, but coalescing around a campaign here. And right now, the convention is about a month away. and their top wide receivers working out in Houston. And their quarterback's talking about, loving, his family and being thankful for everything in his life because he doesn't know if his professional life's going to be turned upside down. And Micah Parsons is just chilling out saying, I'll go sack quarterbacks and until you tell me it's time to, negotiate. At least they have that going for him, as opposed to Micah saying, I want my money right now.
Which he easily could do.
I know.
And totally blow this whole thing way up.
Completely. Because, there's a lot of clocks ticking like Mona Lisa Vito here. and at least for them, one of them is willing to wait to 2025. But CeeDee's got to be done now. And one would think the way to help get CeeDee done is to get Dak done. Let him go into that game against Cleveland fully signed, sealed, and delivered. Two guys at least who are not having to be in this all-in boat. But unless Jerry wants maybe everyone in the same boat, it's going to be fascinating to watch, obviously.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. A CeeDee probably gets done, and that's it, right?
Yep. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Dak gets done. I wouldn't say that. You never know with Jerry Jones.
You never
know.
I know.
You just never know.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.